Welcome to another video on the C programming video series for the beginners. In this video, we will talk about how we can create the variables, how we can store values in them, and how we can access them. Now, in order to continue with this video, I highly recommend you guys to watch the previous tutorials about the variables in this playlist. Once you watch those tutorials, come back to this one. It will make your life a lot more easier. So what is a variable? A variable is a named storage location in memory which can contain data. This data can be manipulated by the program during its execution. In C programming language, in order to use the variables, first we have to create them, and in order to create the variables, first we have to specify what type of data we want to store in that variable. So first we have to specify the data type. Then we have to provide a name for the variable. So by following this particular rule, this particular syntax, we can create variables in our program. Let us say I want to store the age of a user, which will be a whole number or an integer. So in order to create a variable to store the user's age, first I have to specify what type of data I want to store in the variable. So it will be integer or a whole number. And for that, we have to use the keyword int and then a space. And then we have to provide the name for the variable. In this case, I want to store the user's age. So age will be a proper name that I can provide. And after that, we can use this semicolon. So this here is called as defining a variable. When this particular statement is executed, it will create a variable called as age, and it will allocate the memory for this variable age. This is called as variable definition. Here, int is the data type. It is a keyword, and then age is the name that we have given. We can give any name for the variable, but always make sure that you provide meaningful names. Now, the next thing is how we can store the value in this variable. In order to store the value, we have to use the assignment operator, which is used for assigning values. So here we want to assign a value to this particular variable. So we will write age, that is the name of the variable, and then equal to, which is the assignment operator, and then we have to provide the value. Let us say I want to provide 30, and after that we will have the semicolon to mark the end of the statement. When we define a variable is created with this particular name and memory is allocated, and then what we have done is we have assigned the value for this particular variable. Now, how we can use this value? All we have to do is we have to use the variable name whenever we want to access the value. For example, in the previous tutorials about the printf statement, we have seen how we can display values using the printf. Here, let us display the value which is stored in this variable age. Now, here the value is of integer type. So the format specifier will be %d, or I can say age is, and then the placeholder %d, and then I have to provide the value. In the previous examples, what we have done is we have directly provided the value. So this value is used in place of this placeholder. Here we want to say the value is present in a variable. So we just have to use the variable name. So now if I save this program and if I run this, you guys can see here we get age is 30. Now here the rule is if we want to use a variable, we have to create or define that variable first, and then we can use that variable in the program. So if you don't define the variable, if you don't create the variable, then we can't use it in our program. So once I make this as a comment, you guys can see the extensions used here in the VS Code highlight an error here. Now here what we have done is we have defined the variable and then we have assigned the variable separately. What we can do is, if we want, we can assign a value while defining the variable, which is nothing but we can write age equal to 30 like this. So in this example, once we do that, we don't have to assign the value 30 again later. This will also produce the same result. So I will save this program and I will run this. Now, as you guys can see, we get the same result. The variable can contain different values during the execution period of the program. For example, what I have done is I have assigned the value of 30 to this particular variable in the beginning, and that will be displayed here by this printf statement. And after that, this age variable can contain a different value. For example, what I do is I will write age equal to 60 here. So now what we have done is we have assigned a different value for this variable age. Now again, if I copy this printf statement and if I paste it in here like this, and I will add a new line here. If I save the program and if I run this now, as you guys can see, we get age is 30 in the beginning because of this first printf statement, and then we get age is 60 from this second printf statement. So what happened here is age variable is containing different values during the execution of this program. The last thing that we're gonna discuss here in this particular video is we can have as many variables that we need in our program. For example, we will define another integer variable, let us say marks, and let us assign a value of, let us say 100 here. Okay. Similarly, we can have as many variables that we want. And one last thing is, it is a good practice to initialize the variables with some values when we define them. Why? For example, here I will get rid of this marks. And what if we don't initialize this variable age? What if we just define this variable? Now, if I save this program and if I run this, here we get age is 0 in the beginning, and then we get age is 60. Now this result of age is 0 will vary depending on the compiler that is used. We can say it is undefined behavior. And if your program size is large, then there is the possibility of programmers defining the variable and not assigning it with the proper values. So it is always a good practice to assign meaningful values to the variables when we define them. For example, in this case, age is equal to 1 or something like that. So this is it guys for this particular video, just about how we can create variables, how we can use them in our program. In the next video, we will learn more about the variables. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later in the next one.